Yes, this is not a clickbait title. I did get 50% off this event. And if you want to find out what happened, continue watching. But before we actually get into the event itself, here's all of the preparation leading up to the event. Let's go. I realized I forgot to film this, but I'm basically doing this setup, a new setup. I'm repositioning this, but I tested it out with plain paper, and we are going to actually print it on like stock paper. There's gonna be like a box of keychains just right in front, so I think that's fine. I'm gonna get the sizer to cut everything, and we're gonna be good. And then I'll just blue tack it on because I don't want a sticker for it. I don't want to stick it on just in case I want to replace it. So we're gonna try it out. I think it's kind of cute, right? It's like super temporary, but like, yes. Oh, it's so cute. I also have this strip technically like go in here, but I don't know if it's necessary. Is this nice? I don't know. Let's just take it. I don't know. I'm kind of proud of this TBH. It is so obvious that it's blue tacked on because it says squiggly, but it's fine. The upcoming booth is in a week, next week, and I am bringing quite a few new keychains. Kind of excited, but basically there are two kinds of keychains that I'm bringing. The first kind is a blind bag where, let me see, where like basically there are 6 designs like this. They are 4 cm large, and they will be in their own blind bags, and they will have their own packaging and everything. The second version are these tinier little charms, right? And they won't have their own packaging. I will be putting them in the like containers that I'll be putting on display on the booth, and then people can like pick what charms they want. And what I initially had in mind was actually to have this little, remember to remove the back film kind of a little sticker at the back of each, like not each charm, but I will repackage them. I'll reuse the packaging that they came in and basically just like stick it onto the little front or the back of these. But like as you can tell, there's no branding, there's no anything, and I actually forgot to add my name into this. Not saying that I won't put it into my own bag, or like add my own thank you cards or anything like that. It's just in case I don't have enough packaging. I don't know what the crowd's gonna be like. I don't know how many people will be there, but just in case I don't have enough packaging, in case I don't have enough thank you cards, it would be nice to at least have some way of like people knowing what my name is, what my brand's name is. So I think this is fine. I am making the blind bag packaging sticker. I used to make my own packaging, but I was like, nah, no thank you. We have 60 pieces of this kind of like holographic one. They are resealable, and I'm not going to like heat seal the top, so people can just open it. And there's a very tiny note saying to reuse the packaging if you can. Hopefully people do, but yeah. Okay, so this is Miso. She is a couple of months old, I believe, and she is my cousin's little dog. And she came over with my aunt, just as like a getting to socialize with people and dog. This very unwilling dog. Deki isn't a very sociable dog. He loves humans, but he's very cold towards dogs, as you can tell. This entire event is basically Miso trying to approach him and him just not wanting it. Are you scared? Kind of. No, it's a lot calmer now. Oops, my hands. You baby girl. How are you? Okay, took a break from the dogs. I'm gonna prep the rest of the bags. I'm going to mix all of these into maybe the box, and then I will just pick and fill it up. And I won't know what's inside each of the bags because they're gonna be mixed, so blind bag. We'll see how it goes. This is how my booth looks like. I am changing up the price tags, as you can see, but I don't know, I'm not a fan of the way that they look. They look a little bit out of place because nothing else is like the same, you know what I mean? Like nothing else has that same webbish look to it. So I think I might do something different about that. Okay, this is the final one. I think I'm good. I'm done. I made them almost the same size across the board because I realized I didn't quite enjoy how strangely big some of these are. They're relatively still readable, which I am glad, and I think with it being a bit more standard, I guess it's fine. Actually, I have a lot of things to do tomorrow. I'm probably going to a Daiso again. Dude, I'm giving money away to Daiso every single time I booth. Like, genuinely, the amount of money that I've given to Daiso, it's crazy. But yeah, I'm looking for big containers so that I can safely pack everything into those containers and then pack the containers into the luggage. Okay, so just came back from my trip to Daiso. I am going to pack everything in these boxes, and I think it's gonna be pretty fast. I think once they're in the boxes, it will be a lot easier to put it into the luggage, and then I think I will pack everything up tonight. I have no idea. I say maybe because I am a worrier and I like to see everything in front of me before I pack, and I tend to prefer packing like before, like the day before or the night before, simply because it's like I don't know, it's just a thing to calm myself down. But you know, right now my freaking floor is crazy packed. I have barely any space to stand, so I think it'll be great to like pack everything. I am almost done. I'm almost done. I've packed every product into cases. It's a matter of putting them into the luggage. I haven't unpack this thing on the floor. They will go straight into the luggage, so that's why I'm leaving them on the floor first. I'm in the process of packing everything up. All of my merch is in this one, but I still have like the displays and all that, and all the boxes and water and packaging, keycaps packaging. But my issue with this bag is that it's actually very heavy. To have that and then this on top of this, which is already heavy on its own. So I brought in a second luggage, and I think it will make life a lot easier to just wheel all of these heavy things around. I think I'm going to shift some of the merch out of this. Sorry, it's not even focusing. Shift some of the merch out of this into this so that it's a little bit more balanced, because this is fucking heavy. Yep, this is terribly heavy. And yeah, we will try and experiment. Let's do it. Okay, right. It's a little dark, but it's fine. So it's around 12 midnight right now. I have a little bit of weird news. I don't really know what I feel about this just yet, because it's a little preemptive to have opinions on an event until I give them a shot and like am there to experience it for myself, because like maybe some people just can't write very well, or like they just write very passive aggressively, you know what I mean? And like sometimes text might not be the best way to communicate with other people, simply because different people hear different things in their heads, you know what I mean? Like a sentence that can seem very innocent can be read in a lot of different ways, and text just cannot show off the emotions. My point in talking about all of this is because I was talking to a friend because I could not figure out when the setup was, and I was afraid that like I could have missed like an SMS or an email. And so I asked her, hey, have you received anything yet? And she was like, no. She actually reached out to the event organizer on Tuesday, so that's what, 2 days ago. They left her on red, they didn't respond, and I was like, damn. She says she's going to reach out again tomorrow, so we will see if she gets left on red again. I hope not. But the only way she figured out when the event is, when the setup for the event is going to happen is through the application form that we used. And the only reason why she has the application form is because she never closed the tab. We as vendors don't have a copy of it. I don't know if it's meant to be that way. We don't have a copy of it, so we don't know when setup is. There is no pre-event details that's sent to us, so we don't know where our booth is. Like we don't know our booth table. We don't know what time to set up, or like what time earliest we can be there. She went to the tab, the application form, and it showed her when we can come in to set up, which is Friday 6 to 8 p.m. or Saturday before 10 a.m. And they say that no latecomers are allowed after 10 a.m. But they also don't tell us when's the earliest we can be there. A little strange, but like my friend says that they've done this market before, so I can't even give them the benefit of doubt that it's like their first year running it. I don't know. I like it's just strange, because a lot of the events that I know of and that, you know, other people have boothed at, they do provide you with the booth table and like where you're allocated, like a little floor plan of the place, and then they'll tell you which table you're at. And even Makers Market gave us extra details on where we can drop off. If you're coming by vehicles, like where we can drop off, where we can enter by, because the place won't be like fully opened. I don't know how I feel about it, but yeah, I feel like it's just one of those things that I will have to withhold my anger. I don't even think it's anger, but like withhold my judgment until the event happens, and then we will see. Yeah, I realized I should have filmed like my guesses of what will sell for my previous makers market, but I did not. So my guesses for the best sellers would be the blind bags and the mini keychains, um, and the postcards. I think the rest, even if they don't sell, it's fine. It's fine. I don't know. I want to say that the keychains will also sell, but we will see. I don't know if this crowd is a keychain crowd or something. I hope they are, but I think most of them might get the postcards. We will see. We will see. But yeah, that's it. So, day one was a mixed bag of feelings, to be honest. The space was expectedly small, but it felt even smaller after the booth was set up and the crowd came in. The booth was set up in like a P shape starting from the door, so a lot of the congestion actually happened around the loop where I was. It has its good and its bad because it meant that I couldn't really leave my booth to do much because I couldn't weave my way through the crowd, but it also meant that a good amount of the crowd was stuck around my booth. I was very lucky to have friends that came down to the booth and brought food for my other friends who were boothing there. We had Mr. Onigiri. It was so filling and very worth the price. I also had friends that came down with like milk tea and cake. Definitely very, very blessed. And I don't think I would have been able to do this market without any help. But the unfortunate thing was that my table was right underneath the leaking air conditioner, so you can see that it's leaking constantly, and it leaked even more halfway through the day. The artist beside me had to inform the owner about the leakage first, and they did put down a bucket, but then halfway through, I had to get help from my friend who was boofing to get their attention because the leak was over at my table and I couldn't really get out of my booth. Essentially, both of the buckets were taking up the back of my booth space, and it kind of sucked because it meant that I had to sit beside my table, blocking off customer flow for the booth right next to mine. The owner and other staff member did come by to explain to me what was happening with the aircon, but I don't know. I just think that they overbooked for their space. I know that it just wouldn't be a booth that I go back to. The price is good, but you are giving up a lot of things, and they are trying. Like, they are trying because they have workshops, they're running ads, they're definitely doing much more than Makers Market. That I'll give them. And the crowd here wants to shop for local artist stuff, so there are pros and cons, and it depends on how much you're willing to accept and let go of. Okay, ignore the hair and the fact that I look kind of crazy, but I was spending a bit of time just now cutting this up, or like preparing this. So yeah, as you can tell, meme keychains. I'm I'm probably gonna bring this set of keychains, which are basically my pick your own keychain charms, but in packaging with like meme quotes around it. Simply because I don't think people were noticing the pick your own keychains, or rather, like maybe there wasn't like a big enough sign or clear enough sign. Um, could have improved on that, but I figured there could be a chance that the charms are very small and a bit hard to see, and I would imagine putting them in this context where people would like look at the meme and then like they would read the packaging and then they'll see the keychains, and like at the very least people will see the keychains, and I think and I hope it will be easier for people to like interpret the emotions without having to go too close to it or like squint at it or something like that. I don't know. um I don't really know what could be the underlying cause of not being of people not seeing the keychains, the pick your own keychains. I've seen some people kind of confused because I think they think it's just a charm, but I figured let me just try this out. Let me just bring this in and see how it goes for this booth. Okay, I needed to refill my afterthoughts for day 2 in a voiceover because your girl yapped so much. 17 minutes worth of content to be exact, but basically I started the day off with getting myself some coffee from the cafe next door because I needed it for today, okay, and I'm glad I went out to buy it. I will say again that I'm super thankful to have friends that are boothing together because Senri actually helped us to get Mr. Onigiri again for lunch, and I had friends who came down after the booth was over to help me pack up and we got dinner together. You'll see the footage later, but this is basically going to be like a compilation of all of the shots because I'm gonna continue yapping but summarized. Basically, today was yet another waterfall situation, but it got a little worse throughout the day. There was a bucket at the start of the day, but then around 2 p.m., it started to pool and spray outside of that first bucket. I couldn't really get off my booth at that time because I was tending to a customer, so I had to ask my booth neighbor to help me get the staff's attention. The lady boss came over and she seemed really apologetic. She helped me with the buckets, put some towels down, and she was like tweaking something with the aircon to stop it from swaying or something, which she suggests is the reason that the water is like spraying outside of the first bucket. But at 4 p.m., the water situation got further out of hand, and at least this time around, there weren't as many people, so I could go get help myself from the staff. Then, of course, another bucket and towel situation, a few more apologies. At that point, I was pretty sick and tired of an apology, and in fact, at around 6 p.m., the situation was still pretty bad despite the extra buckets and towels, but I was like tired and done with it. I didn't want to reach out for help because there really wasn't a point in it. The fact that I had to be the one to ask for help, whether it's from asking help from other boothers or to be the one to reach out to the staff myself, instead of them being more proactive and taking initiative to come by every couple of hours, I feel like it speaks volumes to the issue at hand. I also got pretty angry at my post-day reflections, so let me pull this gem to wrap up my second day thoughts for you all to see. You have an issue with your air conditioning, and you've said that it's an issue a lot of the times when it's raining, and it can come, it can go. It doesn't seem like no matter how much servicing you guys do, it's still gonna come back, it's still gonna happen. If you knew of that problem, why are you still putting booths right there underneath the air conditioning? That's it. Like, you could have very easily took away those two booths. You could have very easily reduced the size of your market and allowed for more space along the aisles. I think at the end of the day, I was increasingly more disappointed because you could tell that the staff weren't really coming to our corners to check in. um, they were apologetic, but they never initiated anything else. A lot of it was initiated by us. We had to be the ones, but at least I had to be the one reaching out to the staff, asking them to help, to come and give me a bucket, come and give me a towel, like help me clean up, like dry up the spot. And despite all the I'm so sorry about this issue, there was nothing else except for apologies. And it's disappointing to say the least. Um, and at this point, I have sent their event coordinator a message. I don't actually know how she'll respond. Yeah, it's almost midnight. I'm gonna go shower and I'm gonna go wash up, and we will see what sort of response we'll get tomorrow, and we'll see if we will be satisfied with the response. Okay, I have a whole ass conversation with the camera about what happened in terms of the response that I got over here. I think considering it's been settled, I don't want to rehash the conversation. Okay, like the easiest way that I can describe it was that I wasn't very happy with the initial response. It felt very passive aggressive. It felt like they weren't really apologizing and instead putting the blame on me for not communicating with them. Yeah, anyway, it's all been resolved. You'll see in the next clip that the event organizer reached out to me and she was like, can we hop on a call instead? She was a lot sweeter in the call. It didn't, like, she was super apologetic. She was a lot sweeter. That's why I said at the beginning of the video that I just don't think that text is really the best form for some people to communicate, because you read it very differently. And yeah, it's settled. That's how I got my 50% off. And yeah, let's just jump into the last wrap up, because I think that's what most people are more excited for, right? Okay, so if you think that something looks very different from everything, and that yes, I am having my DJI, which I mean, it will be introduced in my future videos, but basically it's August right now and I am editing my white canvas videos, which were back in June, and I realized that my reflections, everything is completely lost, right? And that there was absolutely no audio in any of the clips because my microphone died, and I didn't realize that my phone wasn't smart enough to not use the microphone, the dead microphone. And so I lost like 10 minutes of me yapping, which is a very crucial amount of yapping that I missed out on. But it is fine. I am doing a very last minute recording, re-recording, I should say, of everything that I said. Thankfully, I still have my script, so yes, I am referring to my laptop for all of the little details. Yeah, let's get into this. Post-event reflections. Let's get started. So, location and the space. Although the place was a little bit far from me, it is situated in a stretch that is very popular with the younger crowd, as it is lined with like cafes and popular eateries, and it was also really near the MRT. There was like a very, very short, unsheltered walkway from the MRT to the building itself. So I personally think it was pretty decent, honestly. The only few things I would say that are pain points would be that it was difficult to locate. They did try their best to put up signs next to the stairs, and they also included some flyers at the bottom of the stairs to kind of like introduce to people what was happening. But it could be a little bit easy to miss if you weren't walking right next to the corridor. And of course, there are stairs. That makes it pretty inaccessible. I definitely had difficulties lugging my luggage up the stairs, but I managed to despite everything. I just think that, if you do have issues with accessibility, it might not be the best place to booth at, honestly. The space itself was also very small, but I was expecting it given that it was held in a shop house, which, I mean, in Singapore, shop houses are pretty small to begin with. It didn't really help that there were too many vendors, in my opinion, and there was barely any space to walk in. It could not actually fit two people walking side by side along the aisle for sure, and the whole place was pretty stuffy despite having the aircon working, but not really working. If you were situated at the back corners of the space, it might be difficult for you to navigate to the toilet. They only had one toilet, or to get food on Saturday, because it was actually very crowded. I was lucky enough to have friends that were coming down during lunchtime, and they picked up lunch for my boo friends and I. Next, footfall. The best guess is that there were at most 400 people attending the event across 2 days. There is guaranteed to have around 100 people attending the free workshops held throughout both days, which is great, honestly. But I feel like the space could only hold at most 30 more people. which made the whole event look deceptively crowded. Yeah, genuinely, my best guess is that there's maybe 400 people max who were at the event. Saturday probably saw about two-thirds of the crowd because Sunday was pretty quiet, honestly. Sunday was pretty quiet. Saturday had about 30 people every hour, with a good number of people shuffling in and out of the shop house every half an hour. And that includes people who are coming in for the workshops and that they may choose to like walk around the booths after their workshop was done. Sunday's crowd ebbed and flows. Most people that were there came down for the free workshops. So my best guess is that there were maybe 15 people every hour. And whenever workshops started, it got pretty quiet and slow. Most of the time, it was actually vendors walking around, talking to each other or like shopping at each other's booths. In terms of the type of audience, I will say it's very curated for sure. Most people there knew that they were attending an art market and they were there to look for interesting things to buy. I would say that most of them were between their early 20s to their late 30s, with a handful of younger teenagers and a couple of older people, like maybe less than 10. A very decent crowd, and that they were also mainly there for the workshops. In terms of how easy it is to work with white canvas, if you set aside the fact that I had to initiate a lot of the conversations to get help, one, and to get a refund, most of the time was still quite okay. I would say that communications could be a lot better because sometimes it felt a little passive aggressive and deflective. But that could also be because everything's through text and different people could interpret emotions very differently through reading said text. I would also love if there were more initiative taken by all of the ground staff there when I was experiencing issues with the waterfall display, because they just kept coming up to my booth and saying like, hey, if you need help, if you need our help, call us. Which I feel like it shouldn't have been the case because I'm running a business here. You have a lot of ground staff that some of them weren't working in between the workshops. I feel like there could have been a lot more initiative to get them to come by the booths and ask if the waterfall, well, I call it the waterfall, but whether the aircon was okay, or like whether the leakage was okay, whether it was overflowing. And it shouldn't be on my end to have to reach out and find people. I just feel like it's definitely something they could work on for next time. Applications were pretty easy, and I just had to pay through PayNow, and I got a receipt sent over to my email. Everything else was through WhatsApp. So from like getting my social media photos to receiving any information, all through WhatsApp. I do think that important information should be reiterated through an email or through text, because we were already texting out anyway, because they were actually expecting the vendors to refer back to the sign up form for all of the details like when to set up, the booth size, and anything else like a vendor could require. They also don't provide you with your booth position beforehand. It makes it quite difficult for you to plan ahead or to let anyone coming to your booth know where you will be positioned before you actually arrive for setup. And for this, I actually really preferred the way that Makers Market handled it. They provided all the vendors with a PDF with all of the details, and it was super useful and very thorough. A thing that I preferred when working with White Canvas was the fact that they would actually run ads for the event, and they took the effort to promote each artist that would be there at the event. Like they asked us for our product photos, and then they would take otherwise they would take photos from our Instagram account. The social media account was actually pretty lively throughout the event, and I would say it was a lot better than how Makers Market handled it. In terms of vendors, oh my gosh, there were a ton of talented vendors there. But if you're an illustrator, I would say be warned, because there are a ton of illustrators over there. There were only 2 crochet-based stores and one and a half stalls that worked on jewelry items. There were 2 live painters. One did painting and another did caricature, but they also sold their own works there. Despite the fact that most of the people were selling the same things, so I'm talking like stickers, prints, and keychains, the art styles are actually very varied. despite the high number of illustrators, I can safely guarantee you that there's enough variety in what each artist brought to the table, and I didn't feel like there was a huge overlap in the art styles. Okay, finances. So I'm trying something different this time around. I'm not revealing my actual numbers. The best estimate that I can give you is that it's about $100 less than what I made for a Makers Market event. You can see the video either here or here. I have no idea, but a card will pop up. You can also see in the description if you want to. But I will do an item breakdown and the expenses that I had for the event. So expenses wise, I actually kept it to a minimal, and I was very impressed that I managed to take the public transport. Given the distance and the amount of things that I had to carry, but I honestly think I couldn't have done it without my friends, because I was so exhausted after the event, and it didn't help that I reached home pretty late at night, both nights. The booth rental was $60 after having to speak up and stand my ground for a refund. I bought a few new supplies to change up my booth setup, and those cost around $50. My food and drinks for the weekend was $28.10. Transport was around $8.50, and I ran ads on my catalog for $8.70. I included my extra expenses of spending at the other vendors' booths because I just need to shame myself because I spent around $100. Overall, after deducting all of my expenses, I walked away with $100 more than what I profited at Makers Market, which honestly could have been because of transport. I spent $90 on transport for myself and my helpers at Makers Market. So yeah, I'm just saying. Now, for the more interesting breakdown of everything that I sold. Of my top selling items by sales, obviously Gacha is going to do well. My sleepy blind bag keychain did really well, followed by my mini keychains. But my mini keychains only started selling after I adjusted the packaging. It seems like maybe I didn't make it clear enough about the whole make your own keychain. And maybe the pieces were a bit too small for people to want to take their time to look at it. Completely understandable. I'm glad I changed the packaging for Sunday. My B grade bags also did well, but they were priced very competitively. And finally, my Series 1 sticker sets also did well. There were a few items that didn't sell as well. They were the same offenders as back in Maker's Market, such as my lounging, my magic ticky, and bulb ticky keychains. Some of my prints didn't sell that well, but maybe I need a better way to display it. I don't know. For this crowd, my keychains and stickers did well. My sticker sheets were also doing much better than compared to Maker's Market. I believe this pattern of keychains and stickers selling well is going to be quite common. Okay, general thoughts and ending. So, overall, I would say that I was okay with this event after everything has settled, but I'm likely not going to return because of the distance and the inconvenience of it being on the second floor with no lift access. I appreciated that they held free workshop events to join the crowd and also ran ads. The table fee was fine, and they did hold promotions if you did 2 weekends instead of 1 weekend. I think if you were thinking of joining the event, a few things you should consider for yourself. Firstly, the distance to your place. Is it worth the travel? Is it too far? Is it close? I personally think if it is close or if you're willing to travel, absolutely. Two, whether you'll be okay with climbing stairs with your luggages. This was definitely a very huge consideration, and that I don't and that I felt like I made it work simply because I didn't bring like a large number of things, like not in comparison to my future events. So if you think you're able to do it, sure. But lastly, three, whether you'll be okay with the small space. I will say that after my feedback on the first weekend, I have heard from artists that went back to the second weekend that they actually changed a lot of the layout. So it was a bit more spacious for customers to walk around, and they opened up
the workshop area. I don't really know how they were doing it necessarily, but they basically shifted some of the booths to the workshop area, which is good. But there were complaints that the sitting area for vendors were very, very, very tight. So I don't know how good that is. I don't know how good and I don't know how comfortable that can be. But I guess it is what it is. At least they tried. At least they tried. Okay, I'll give them credit that at least they tried. And that's kind of it. I hope you enjoyed this kind of video. I will have 2 more videos coming up for Cozy Craft and for Cosfest because they have both passed. But otherwise, if you want to continue getting my stuff, I have a consignment space at Pluto Days Club at Queensway Shopping Centre until December. So you can go check it out. You can go see what cool things I have, I guess. I'm probably gonna swap some things out for September. I haven't really figured it out yet, but if you want to. But yes, that's it. What do you think of this event? Would you do this event yourself? Would you attend this event if you're not an artist? If you were an artist that was at either one of the weekends, how was it for you? Did you enjoy the experience? Was your sales good? I personally think that a lot of the people there were very, very sweet to interact with, and I really enjoyed that part, but not exactly the part about interacting with the event organizers until the very end. Let me know all of that in the comments, and like, what do you want to see from me, I guess. And with that, I'll see you guys in the next videos. Multiple videos. I hope it's multiple videos. Okay. Bye.